I don't admit defeat very often, but today, I lost. I'm not talking about a burger eating contest. I'm talking about the ability to blow an engine. There haven't been many engines that I haven't been able to blow up, but today we're going to do an in-depth analysis on one engine you guys might be familiar with that I wasn't able to kill. It just kept on going. It took a serious beating. Yeah, I'm talking about the original race unit engine. This Gen 1 small block, 355 cubic inches, just took a beating for 3 years straight, I believe. And this thing had actually been in 3 vehicles prior to going in this truck. It ran great. Its whole life. It still ran great when we pulled it out. We've got some big plans for this engine, but we got to make sure it's in tip-top shape before we spend some time putting this in another vehicle. So today we're going to tear this thing all down and just inspect everything and see how it looks after 3 years of sitting on a 7,500 RPM rev limiter, being overheated multiple times, and just in general not being taken care of. So step 1 is going to be the cylinder leakage test. Before we start that, I'm going to get all these accessories off here and pop the valve covers off so we can ensure each cylinder's on top dead center when we're doing that cylinder leakage test. I'm going to take that stuff off right now, and then we'll talk about the cylinder leakage test. Well, we've got all that junk out of the way. So as I mentioned, this is a 355 cubic inch. It's a solid roller cam, pretty big one. It's got titanium valves, GM bow tie heads, crane rockers, bow tie intake. This was a superstar back in the 90s. It's always ran good. But yeah, now we're moving on to the cylinder leakage test. So what that does is that's going to push air into the cylinder. And when the cylinder is at top dead center, the air is going in there. And it's basically taking the known from the leak down test and seeing if there's any air escaping the cylinder. And if so, how much. And by listening, we can tell where it's going. So say the rings are worn, we'll be able to hear noise coming from the crankcase. Or if there's a bad head gasket, typically you would look at this when the cooling system's still hooked up. You could see bubbles in the radiator or coming from the radiator cap. Same thing, if there's a valve leaking, you can hear noise coming from the intake. So we're going to do the leak down test and then record all the cylinder leakage numbers and see how this thing stands. Well, we did the leak down test and got our results. And turns out this thing needs some work. So you can see number 8 cylinder had 60% cylinder leakage. Number 2, 35%. Number 1, 35%. And then number 7, 37%. And the 4 of those pretty much all coming from the exhaust valve. So didn't really get to show you this device right here, the cylinder leakage tester. So this hooks up to your air hose. This end hooks up to this piece of hose that threads into where the spark plugs go. And you set the pressure going in. And then this side shows you how much cylinder leakage you got. So we did that. And each time you could feel the air escaping from the exhaust valve. There were a couple times where we could tap on the exhaust valve and get the leakage to go down a little bit, whether there be some crud on the exhaust valve or whatnot. But yeah, this thing needs a valve job at least. So glad we checked that. I guess the next thing to do is take the intake and pull the heads and stuff off and really dive deep into this thing, see what we got going on. So we'll do that right now. The intake and heads came off easy, and I'm pretty impressed with what we found. This thing's honestly in pretty good shape. So if you look in there, I mean, you can still see cross-hatching on the cylinders. That's good. Pistons are all in one piece. Also very good. The head gaskets, not sure where they went over there. I'm not going to dig them out. They got a bunch of stuff on them. They appeared to have a little bit of carbon tracking between a couple of the cylinders, so I think those are probably on their way out. So glad we took this apart. But overall, yeah, very happy with what we found. We're going to pop the oil pan off and, well, see what the bottom end looks like now. Well, we got the pan off of it. And again, very impressed with how everything looks. The oil that was remaining in the pan, I mean, was a little dirty, but there's no real obvious play in any of the rods. And the engine builder and myself were discussing, it's like those 200,000 mile 4L60s that haven't been opened up. Sometimes you just gotta leave her alone. You don't want to let the magic out. So I think this might be as far as we go on this one. Just gonna leave the rotating assembly intact and get some new gaskets, get those heads fixed and machined, and put this thing back together for its new home. Now, obviously, we could do other things like pull the cam out, check the timing chain for stretch. The cam looks good from what we can see inside. Maybe we'll pull the timing cover off to look at that. I think it's good. I mean, the big indicator was oil that looked pretty solid for what it's been through. So I think we're going to be good. Well, that's going to do it for today's project on the old Burning Right engine. That thing, I'm very impressed with the condition of that engine after the abuse that it saw for a long time. So, just going to get those heads fixed and get some new gaskets, put that back together. There's some interesting stuff in this garage you guys haven't seen yet. You'll be seeing it shortly. Maybe something over there. Who knows? But I really appreciate your guys' support. The channel's doing really good in a short amount of time. That's thanks to you guys. This next month for me is going to be very busy. Got a lot of cool stuff coming up. Going to be doing some traveling. Got a lot of projects I want to work on. So I appreciate your support in this matter. And I'll see you in a couple days probably. Bye-bye. Also, if you guys got any suggestions for fun things that you'd like to see on the channel, let me know. This place has a good selection of everything. I mean, we got big blocks laying around. They're just doing nothing. A little bit of everything's here. So comment below what you'd like to see me do, whether it's car stuff or side-by-side stuff. I got some side-by-side stuff that's coming pretty soon. So let me know. All right, for real. Goodbye.